Hey, Ryan Hayden here. Again, in this series of videos, what we're doing is we're taking this design here and we're going to code it out in Jekyll, and we're going to use Cloud Cannon to use it to make it user editable as a CMS. And so I'm walking through that whole process. Now, one thing that I did off camera that I didn't want to, take the time to record was I went through this design and I got all of the textures and set up all of the textures in my project folder. The reason why I didn't want to record that is because I use Sketch for my designs, but Sketch is terrible at textures. It really is not good. Sketch is great for exporting things as you see them on the screen. But if you have to export some texture that you've worked with, really I have to open up Photoshop and recreate everything that I've done in Sketch, which isn't too terrible once you know how to do it, but it's not something I wanted to take the time to show you because this isn't really about that. All right, so we have this design, and I've got the design folder living in my home one-page Thailight folder. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump over here into the terminal, and I'm going to open it in Sublime Text. Okay, so if I went into assets, I have this design folder, and in here is where I have all of my textures and other design resources like logos and whatnot. Okay, so that's what we're going to be accessing through our sass. And I guess the first thing we probably want to do, if we look at this design again, probably the first thing that we want to do is we want to code this header here, this Navbar, which should be really, really simple. So let's hop over into our code and let's get started with that. So if we go to Layouts Default, it says we have this body, menu, and then panel, and then the panel has a content. All right, we're probably safe with this particular design with the nav bar at the top, making a navigation include. And I think I already have one. So I'm going to do include navigation.html. I'm going to go into my includes folder, make sure that that's already there. Okay, so I'm going to save this. And then I'm going to go into navigation, and navigation is completely blank. Okay, so just to help you remember, okay, any include is just going to get pulled into this template. So if this was just all straight up HTML, this is the head, this is the navigation, this is the footer, and this is just so we don't have to repeat ourselves for every single page. And the reason that that's helpful is because if you change one nav link, then you have to, and you're not using some kind of includes, then you have to go back through each page, each instance, and change the nav link code. The one URL, you have to change it over and over again. Whereas when you're using includes, you just do it once and it goes across your site. So it's super, super helpful in that regard. All right. So one thing I probably should do is back into my terminal here. I need to run the server so we can see what we're doing. So I'm going to do bundle exec jekyll serve. You might be able to get away with just running jekyll serve, but bundle exec actually looks in the gem file on the file and make sure that everything's running according to that. So I'm going to go back. This is my localhost here, and I'm going to refresh. All right, and that's what it should look like. Okay, so back in navigation. All right, what can we do for navigation? Let's just do, we'll just do a div with navigation. .navigation. And I'm using Emmet, which makes this much easier, okay? All right, and then I always end my divs with this. This is something that I use, and I just have text expansion set up so that when I type these three characters, it puts the whole thing in there and puts my cursor where it needs to be, so I can just do that. So I do that just so I helps me when I look back at the code to understand where everything is. All right, so there's my navigation, and I need to put my logo in. So let's have a Yeah, that'll be fine. We'll do a ref. And just for now, I'm going to put the number symbol. And then inside the anchor tag, I'm going to put my image. And let's do, for our source, let's do assets. Design. And then I think it's just logo.png. And we might want to put alt Thailight.org. All right, so we have that. And then I need another anchor tag. And this one, again, we're going to do that. Let me add a class here of logo. Okay, and in here, all right, this one is going to be our menu button. So I'm just gonna, for now, I'm just gonna put menu in there, but I need to go into my footer include and just see what this is. Okay, so this needs to be toggle button. The class needs to be toggle button. So let's save that. All right, if we look back at our code here, it says it's regenerated. And if we refresh, we should see something. We should. All right, there we have. We have Thailight.org and menu. And if we click on menu, see if this is working. Aha. All right. It's not what we want right now. But so everything is basically working. Now the colors look awful because I haven't gone through and set up my colors yet, but we'll get to that in a second. And this isn't how we want this to look, but we have what we need to make this in CSS. So that's what we're going to do next. So let's go back into here, and I want to go into I'm going to close this assets folder. I want to go into sass and components. I'm going to make a new file. And it's going to be underscore navigation.sass. And then I also need to go into my new.sass and go to the bottom. And I need to copy and paste one of these import tags and components. And it's going to be navigation. Now, the way Sass works, even though that you might have noticed that there's an underscore in this and there isn't in this, that's how it knows that it just needs to pull it in. It's the way it works. All right, so now we have that saved. So I'm going to go back into my navigation.sass, and let me go ahead and open this up, dual pane, and close that so we can kind of see what we're doing. Okay, so back to my design. All right, so I've got this black bar here, and it is 77 pixels high. So let's do this. We're going to do class.navigation. All right, and we want it to be the height of 77 pixels. I'm going to do display flex, justify content, space between. All right, and then we needed to add that background texture, which is URL, assets, design. Let's open this here, assets, design, and I think it's called Navbar. Other thing, this needs to be 100% wide. All right, let's go back into, let's make sure this is regenerated. Sometimes it takes just a second. All right, should be regenerated. And there we have it. Okay, now it's starting to look like we want it to. Okay, but a couple things are going on here that I don't like. these are not centered in the menu. And Flexbox makes that really easy. So all we have to do for that is align items center. So that should be where we need it now. And let's see if that did what we wanted it to. Ah, much better. Okay. Now, I want to give a little bit of padding to this on the left and the right. Let's say, I don't know. Well, let's look at the design. So on this design here, do my rectangle. Let's say 50 pixels. 56 pixels padding. So let's do padding left, 50 pixels, padding right, 50 pixels. We're going to save. There we go. All right. And now if we click on this, we have our menu toggle again. And it looks like it's working pretty good, except for it shouldn't be spanned over into that. We're going to have to fix that here in a second. But we have our menu just about done. We need to change the menu button. So I have Font Awesome installed on this. So I just need to, for the menu, I need to do I.fa.fa. Let's try FA menu. Space. Okay, that is on there. So it's not menu. So let's go into our Font Awesome cheat sheet. Font Awesome. Let's look at the icons. And let's search for menu. And it's called bars. So I need to go back into here and change this to FA bars. Save that. Let's go back into here and let's refresh. And so we have our menu button, but the text isn't right, or the size of it isn't right. So let's go into our design again. And let's see. I want this text to be 20 and bold. So we're going to do this. We're going to do, all right, this was dot toggle button. So we're going to do dot toggle button. Font size, 20 pixels. Font weight, bold. All right. And the color on this was white. So for white on this, I usually use main light color. There we go. That's looking exactly like it's supposed to in our design. So we're gonna call it quits on this video because we're reaching our 15-minute cutoff point.